It is a beautiful night for college lacrosse here in College Park, Maryland, and we have got a whopper for you on the Big Ten Network. Rutgers, fresh off an upset victory over Michigan a week ago, travels down south, I-95, to take on the Maryland Terrapins, looking to defend their home turf. Welcome in, everybody. Mark Dixon joined by Mitchell Pehlke. We are so glad you could join us here tonight for Saturday Night Lacrosse on the Big Ten Network. Rutgers and Maryland. These guys have played an entertaining series. Maryland has dominated, but tonight it's all about the win to get the best playoff seeding in the upcoming Big Ten men's tournament. Very excited on that. And there you can see Rutgers, if they can get the W here, create a little bit of a log jam up top, and that is a big face-off win to start things off here. Cole Brams for Rutgers. Ryan Spillane picks up the ground ball. Ross Scott on offense, and away we go. Mark Dixon, Mitchell Pehlke here in College Park. And Mitchell, that's the matchup that you alluded to. Ross Scott against #1 for Maryland, Ajax Zapatello.
Ross Scott, one of the shiftiest players, as I mentioned, in college lacrosse against one of the best, Ajax Zapatello. That's going to be a matchup we'll be eyeing down all night.
His first midfield unit, Cordilla, #88. Shane Knobloch, 27. Jack Amo, #33. Rutgers in all red. Bet you like those lids, don't you? The red chrome for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, Mitchell. Right up your alley.
Well, Scarlet action, I like that.
Maryland wearing the white jerseys, red helmets, red shorts. And really a perfect night here at College Park. Temperatures are comfortable, good crowd on hand. There's a save by McNaney. Nice shot, little give and go behind the cage. Nick Red comes up with the ground ball, and Maryland looking to clear.
And that's what we're going to see all night. Ross Scott going against Ajax Zapatello, trying to draw that second slide to make things happen for the Scarlet Knights. But obviously McNaney, the vet, there to make the stop. And obviously the Terrapins come down to clear.
And McNaney's one of those goaltenders, just plays with such poise, and he doesn't guess. Heels typically on the goal line, reacts to shots appropriately. Gets a big first save here. Maryland looking to get their offense going. This is Braden Erksa, reigning Big Ten Freshman of the Year. And what a heady play. Eric Spanos, #7 in white, got a little careless as Mason Edwards looked to take his lunch money in the middle of the field. This is Edwards against Spanos. Spanos, 4 goals last week against Ohio State. You might say Shane Knobloch caught on defense, but he has become more of a two-way midi for Rutgers this season, so he is very comfortable in the defensive end of things. One thing you will notice, #37 for Maryland, not playing tonight. Daniel Maltz missing his 2nd consecutive game. Daniel Kelly, 45 in white, gets the start on the attack.
This is what you want right here. Erksa against Edwards, and they fail it.
Shot clock violation against Maryland, so a good defensive stand for Rutgers. And how about the different ways? So last week it was Michigan having 12, 13 shots in the first 7, 8 minutes of the game and still having to make saves. That one, Maryland didn't even get a shot off.
Didn't even get a shot. That's unlike Maryland's offense. Maryland's offense is what some call boring, but guess what? Boring works, right? And that's what we'll see all day today. But obviously it didn't work there, and Rutgers ball.
McNaney flushing out Logan Peters. Peters scored a big goal last week against Michigan. Scott with a short stick matchup. He's matched up on Eric Kohler. Rutgers will take this one all day. Expect some quick support. There's the fast slide. Double happens. Knobloch gets the ball taken away. Terrific check from #77 in white.
That's what you do not want for the Scarlet Knights there. Knobloch turning the ball over. Burlace with a great ground ball. Oh, but there's Shane again, picking it up.
Alvidi with the takeaway, but Knobloch gets it right back. Steps in, fires. Ball goes over the crossbar, backed up by Peters. We saw earlier this season, Maryland struggling in the clearing game against the University of Virginia. You played against Maryland a number of years. You just graduated from Ohio State a year ago. When you come to College Park, what would be the mindset of the Buckeyes and you as a player getting ready to play Maryland?
I think the biggest thing is just playing with your feet and fist. not doing too many things differently, and just trying to get the ball up and above the field. Maryland will apply that traditional Terrapin pressure, but if you can outlast it, you obviously will clear the ball.
Referees were conferring on shot clock adjudication. Looks like they got everything squared away, and we're back to live action. Duke Richmond getting a run here on the midfield for the Scarlet Knights. And there's another takeaway. Ball put on the rug. Terrific job by Jackson Canfield, but again, Rutgers able to get it back. Scarlet Knights tenacious. Jack Amode lost the handle on that one. Richmond getting some playing time here. Shot, looks like either McNaney saved it or it didn't make it to the cage. It might have bounced off Nick Red, but regardless, Maryland looking to clear.
Maryland coming out, pressing out very early. Scarlet Knights with a couple turnovers. We're playing that gritty ball, getting the ball back. Terrapin's clearing here.
Rutgers so far, Mitch, with 3 shots. Maryland yet to get one on frame.
Here's their chance to strike.
If you're Maryland, what do you adjust from that first offensive possession to try to penetrate this defense of Rutgers? And more lackadaisical play at the midfield. Owen Murphy gets stripped. And now here come the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Brandon Hunt. Rutgers pulls it out.
This is something you don't see often.
No.
Kind of Maryland coming out slow with Erksa there, and obviously Murphy coming from behind. And this is a different Maryland team we've seen in the past.
Playing here at SECU Stadium, it sits low. And even when you don't have a ton of people, it's still very, very loud. How hard is the communication here as an athlete?
The hardest. I remember playing here my junior year, running out on a sunny Sunday in April, and there was about 7,000 people in the stands. It was super tough to play, and we actually ended up losing that game.
Ross Scott used the pick shot. McNaney snags it clean. Logan McNaney, number 30 in white, has come to play.
McNaney will be here all night. For him, he would call that a gumball. And he's just going to be here. He's a vet and a guy that, you know, tore his ACL last year, redshirted, and is in his 5th year, but also has his 6th year. And he's coming to play here across the midfield.
Look out. He's got a clear path to goal. McNaney pulls up. I don't know. I might have rolled the dice and gone in there for the goalie goal.
I think pre-ACL, he's shooting.
You think so?
I think so. His first and only goal was on the Buckeyes.
I do remember that. That was a 60-yard dart. That's a heartbreaker for...
Not one of the fondest memories.
Ryan Syracusa. Donnie Howard applying the short stick defense. Jack Corus gets to the middle of the field. Nice slide by Rutgers. Eric Spanos rounds out that first midfield unit. Eric Mulliver behind the cage. Harris Hubbard, Washington and Lee and Furman transfer. Double transfer there for the Scarlet Knights. Erksa runs out of real estate. There's Stoller with the save.
Is he in the crease? Nope.
No crease call. And they're going to say that ball sailed over the cage. No shot clock reset. Only 4 seconds left to shoot. I think Mulliver will just, no, I thought he would dump it into the corner. Instead, Spanos from downtown. Shot is wide. Possession over to Rutgers.
What a save.
I mean, that hit him. That should have been a shot clock reset.
Correct.
I have no idea why the officials did not reset the shot clock. That clearly was saved by Carden Stoller.
Stoller having a phenomenal year.
Oh, he's been terrific.
You know, last week, Big Ten
Freshman of the year?
Yeah.
Or Freshman of the Week. I'm getting ahead of myself. Freshman of the year. Well, how about
into the future?
Yeah, well, you know, how about the diaper dandies so far in 2024 in the Big Ten? He was the Big Ten specialist and the Freshman of the Week. 19 saves against Michigan. Turning the corner is Nick Tereski. Save by Logan McNaney. That is his 3rd of the quarter. McNaney looks sharp.
Ajax bringing the ball up. We're in the legendary Terrapin 1.
Brett Makar wore it last year, the first defenseman to wear it. So many greats on the offensive end have worn it before, and that is a great look. Daniel Kelly takes the feed from behind the cage and bounces it by Cardin Stoller. Terps up 1-0.
The little Maryland mosh pit. We gotta love that. It all starts with McNaney with the save. Bingo right there. Big save by McNaney. Ajax bringing it up. And then we have Maliver, sees little Daniel Kelly, the lefty, fundamentals up and over right there. Just a kid from Baltimore doing his due diligence. Pocket placement, 5-hole.
Beautiful shot. Kelly filling in for the injured Daniel Maltz, and it's amazing. Just go down the alley, get the ball to X behind the cage, make the defense turn their head, and then you just leak out from the crease. It's exactly what Daniel Kelly did, and he gets the marker. Rutgers wins their second face-off in a row, and that was really good handle on the far side by Ben McKelvey, a junior from Kent Island, Maryland. Mason Edwards legs it into the offensive zone, and Rutgers looking to crack the code that is number 30 in white, Logan McNaney. You know, one thing I've noticed tonight, Rutgers has gone with the second midfield already. At this stage of the season, late in conference play, late in the regular season, how important is it to have that second midfield with the legs and the grind of a season?
It's very important. You'll see a lot of guys start to fluff through each lineup. Obviously getting deep in the season, guys getting injured, Big Ten play. You'll start to see a lot more guys in rotation for all teams.
Jack Amon. Shot wide. 21 seconds left to shoot for Rutgers. Getting some quality looks, just haven't been able to figure out Logan McNaney, Dante Colas on the restart.
This is what they want, a little pick play action to get the separation. Didn't get it.
Colin Cardilla winds up, shoots, goes wide. 6 seconds to shoot left on the shot clock for Rutgers, and it looks like they're going to dump it into the corner as their offensive midfielders are hustling over to the sideline. Ross Scott looking, feed, knocked down. This is dangerous if you're Rutgers. Got to get back in the hole. George Stamos picks up the ground ball. Rutgers does cut off his path. So another shot clock violation, this time on Rutgers. Maryland going back to what looks like that first midfield unit. Chorus, Spanos, Siracusa coming onto the field.
Spanos having a great couple of weeks, but how about Jack Corse? Just being what I would call a Cadillac to the game, right? A guy that's not going to do anything flashy, have a couple of goals, have a couple of assists each game, just put the points on the board for the Terps.
He just hit somebody's bingo card with his nickname. 4 goals against Penn State, Corse, a couple weeks ago, and that come from behind victory for the Maryland Terrapins, which I honestly think turned their season around.
Yeah.
They were staring a 3rd consecutive loss right in the face, and that win seems to have galvanized them. As there is Corse. Andrew Makika applying the defense. Mishandle up top. Rutgers picks it up. This is an opportunity. Splain. Good job by Spanos to bust a gut to get to the hole. Cuts off the transition opportunity. But another turnover from the Maryland Terrapins.
I think that's what makes a guy like Shane Knobloch so key at the next level. A guy that's going to be a high draft pick in the Premier Lacrosse League. A guy that can play offense and defense, is not afraid to get in the hole.
In my estimation, Knobloch is the best midfielder in the country at this stage. You have Grant Bundy Jr. from Georgetown. Some others in the mix. You know, Griffin Schutz of Virginia having a good season. But at the end of the day, Knobloch, what he's been able to do, his consistency this season. And you mentioned that two-way capability. That in my eyes, yeah, he's a top 5 pick, I think, in PLL draft coming up in a short time. Cardilla gets double teamed. Jack McDonald coming out to apply some pressure. This is Knobloch. Gets separation. .15 seconds to shoot. Ross Scott trying to turn the corner. Good defense by Zapatello. Gets his hands free. Ball whistles wide. 9 seconds to shoot.
That's not an easy shot there by Ross Scott. That's fundamental. That's a guy in his 5th year that's been around the block. Diving shot, and just missed it.
Rutgers with 4 turnovers so far in this one. Maryland with 3. Cardilla down the alley to try to feed across the face of the cage. That looking for Tanner Krimenacker. That one didn't work out. Possession over to Maryland. Been a little bit of a sloppy game so far. Seems like both teams kind of feeling each other out.
Definitely sloppy. Didn't expect Maryland to come out so slow, honestly. I think this is a big part of Maryland.
This is their second midfield, and John Tillman telling us, as he's been telling us for weeks, just trying to find some consistency. Owen Murphy, Zach Whittier, Jack Brennan.
I truly think a guy like Owen Murphy, a complete healthy Owen Murphy, is one of the most dominant middies in all of college lacrosse as he comes down.
Feed not handled. Ball goes. That looked like it was over the midfield line. That is over and back. Good call by the official. Tonight's officials are Peter Buchanan, Dan Bennett, and Jeff George. Transition, nice no-look opportunity. Mason Edwards hit the point man. Make the fundamental pass. Try to get a little slick with that. Edwards, the transfer from UMBC. That is the 4th turnover for this Rutgers team.
Would a young Mark Dixon hit the fundamental pass?
That's a good question. Leading the break, you always love to look the defense off and make that skip. But in this situation, down by a goal, McNaney's been solving. Yeah, I probably would have hit the point. Syracuse winds up, shoots it wide. That's a fair point, though. Thinking about those are the days running down the field.
Your Blue Jays playing the Terrapins next week.
April 20th, big game. Got to worry about this one first if you're Maryland. And Hopkins has Ohio State tomorrow night. We'll bring that to you live here on Big Ten Network, 7 p.m. You going to make the trip? Go out to Ohio State Lacrosse Stadium? Spano shot, saved by Carden Stoller. That's what Stoller does. Makes saves with all parts of his body. Jack Frassi out of Penn State does the same, and there's the pole goal. Ryan Splain with a dart. Beautiful bounce shot from Splain, number 17 in red, and we're level at 1. It starts with defense. He is the Big Ten Freshman of the Week because of saves like this. Might have hit a little post as well. Goalie's best friend in the 6x6 are the pipes. Splain, great handle, pulls up, dials it from downtown. Rutgers is feeling it. They've tied the game at 1. It is a very, very good year for goalies in the Big Ten Conference.
2 freshman standouts. Big Tasty, Caleb Fyock, Carden Stoller. It's a great matchup. Obviously, Stoller 15th in NCAA. Big Tasty 21st. It is a great matchup indeed.
Top to bottom, I mean, you're talking about 6 quality goaltenders. The top two for my money are Frassion and Early. I think those guys, Frassion, first team all Big Ten a year ago, and then Erlin, the graduate student, transfer from Cornell. He really solidifies Hopkins. They've gotten solid goaltending over the last couple of years. Tim Marseille was the guy between the pipes, but Erlin has been huge. 16 saves a week ago against Penn State, and that Hopkins win. Frassion also with 16 saves. But boy, there's some good goaltenders. You're lucky when you graduated when you did. There's some good goalies out there. Rutgers 1 goal on 10 shots. Maryland 1 goal on 5 shots. Turnovers, the Terps with 6, Rutgers with 4. Both these teams looking to reverse their fortunes. How big is it when a pole scores a goal like that?
Huge, huge. I mean, it's what we call a bench goal. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights bench was half on the field, and I think we have a little timeout here.
End of quarter. That'll do it for the first 15 minutes We've got a good one here in College Park. 1-1, low scoring. Can Rutgers break the Maryland streak?
Obviously, you talked about Ireland earlier, and Degnaw coming back, and another Cadillac of Jacob Angeles.
Very old, experienced team. Weirman wins the faceoff out the front door. And you saw that score. Physical play. Nice hit by Rutgers. Terrific job. Very physical play. That was faceoff man Cole Brahms laying the wood to Jack Corus. Rutgers gets the ball. You saw that Penn State score. Nittany Lions got off the slide there with a 14-8 victory. TJ Malone 7 points. Matt Costin was terrific. For Penn State, man, I tell you, when they played Maryland a couple weeks ago, that first quarter where they jumped out 6-2, they looked like they were just on a different planet. And then Maryland settled down, made plays, but Penn State, they're as dangerous as any team in the Big Ten and in the country.
We would call that Maryland just being Maryland.
Sure. Nene made saves. Corus had 4 goals. Feet inside. Nice move and a goal. Terrific finish. It's Dante Coulis, the junior out of Cordis, Ontario. Great ball movement. Keep your feet moving. Score a goal.
Just a kid from Canada making it happen. Look at the tattoos. A little hair to the back. Got a little eye black going. The swag with #1 for Rutgers. But more importantly, the play. Coming in here with a great move from Knobloch. Getting in here, faking, finishing it. I like it. #1. I think this is important. Bringing the stick across his chest and then finishing near side. Not too many goalies can make that save, and obviously got past McNaney here.
You saw the attention that Shane Knobloch drew on that. 3 white jerseys converging to number 27 in red. Just a little slide pass. Gets the assist.
I think we'll see that all night with guys like Knobloch and Ross dodging, drawing, passing, and scoring. Those guys are obviously marquee guys. Ajax Apatello versus Ross Scott, we'll be seeing that all night. But for those guys to dodge, draw, double, move it, and have that guy, the open guy, to score is going to be key for the Scarlet Knights.
Big goal in that first quarter. First quarter, they saw only 2 goals and 10 turnovers combined with the teams. Spanos fakes the shot. Good defense by LeJohn Jones Jr. Bryant transfer. Locked up Spanos as he was cocking that stick back to get his shot off. Syracuse draws a double.
Syracuse, a guy that's been in the lineup here this year. Didn't get too much playing time last year, but I think a key part of this starting midfield.
Almost had a step inside. Thought he could have pressed the issue, but Jones again harassing number 38 in white. 20 seconds to shoot for the Terps. Kelly, he's a lefty, puts it in his right hand, and he finds pay dirt. I don't think Stoller expected that shot. Either way, we're tied at 2.
Daniel Kelly bringing out tricks here in College Park. I don't think we even saw it coming.
No.
We've seen a lot of lefty goals out of him. And we see a little righty going to the same spot, the 5-hole. Big goal by Daniel Kelly, and we'll take a little replay here. I think the important aspect is kind of the hesitation, and then he shoots it. The hesitation on the dodge, and then in the right hand, no one expects it, and he puts it 5-hole and cans it. And here we go, the celebration from the Terrapins.
Yeah, I agree. There was a little hesitation there. He put in his right. He was almost kind of like, do I want to? Okay, and he did it. Great placement. Solves Stoller, and Weirman wins another faceoff for Maryland. That's the thing about Luke Weirman. You might get him in the first quarter, but then he starts to figure you out. Justin Wheatfeld a couple weeks ago at Michigan did not fall into that trap. He actually was able to get the better of Weirman in the fourth quarter, but typical Luke Weirman's form turned it around against both Penn State and Ohio State. Now he looks to be getting into a groove here tonight. Owen Murphy, second midfield out there for Maryland. It's a Rutgers team we saw go into zone against Hopkins a couple weeks ago. That is very unlike Rutgers, and you can see this aggressive man-to-man defense being employed by the Scarlet Knights. Stoller How you like me now? Nice save.
Stoller playing all high heat there, not getting off that pipe. It's kind of what they teach goalies these days. Stay on that pipe, lock that pipe down, and obviously the Scarlet Knights coming here soon.
Splain with a successful clear. Rutgers looking to get back to work on offense. This has been a competitive series, but Rutgers just has not been able to find a way to beat Maryland since 1980. Is tonight the night?
44 years.
Long time. Pass snared out of midair. Interception by Colin Burlace. Take a risk, high reward, and that time the risk.
I don't like that play.
No?
I don't like that play. Early in the shot clock, it's tied up. Momentum's kind of could go either way. And you afford a feed up top that could essentially been a fast break for Burlace, but decides to take him to McNaney and have a settled offense here for the Terps.
The possessions in the shot clock, like that is a huge consideration. How much defense have we been playing? We just gave up a goal. Maybe to your point, let's spin it around, bang it around a little bit, give our defense a breather. Chorus gets a step, runs out of angle. Syracuse with the rocket. That will get the Terp Nation on their feet. Maryland is back in the lead.
Wow, I mean, not much to it. The high heat from Syracuse to the bench was halfway on the field. There's nothing more you would like on a nice Saturday here in College Park. Let's take a little replay. Maliver keeping his eyes open up top, sees it, steps. I think the veteran move here is catching it into it, and then obviously pointing at the bench, the fans, getting everybody hyped. Ryan Syracuse is on the board.
Maryland 2 goals in 2 minutes and 28 seconds. Terrific shot from Syracuse.
And this is where, for the Scarlet Knights, it could kind of get out of hand. You just said 2 goals in 2 minutes and 38 seconds, and continuing at that route. This is what the Maryland offense does.
Yeah, you call that the danger zone. I'm not quite feeling it, but to your point, you cannot let the Terps get downhill on you. If they get downhill on you, it is going to be a long night.
You mentioned it earlier. Do we think Rutgers goes into his own?
I don't think so. Not right now. I think that their matchups are okay. They're getting the ball on the turf. They're creating turnovers. That's what you got to watch out for. And when they can hit the backside, that's what you want Carden Stoller to do. Nice save. It was a good shot. I think it was Whittier with the opportunity, but you learn from your mistakes, right? Carden Stoller closed the 5-hole on that one.
If I'm playing against Stoller and I'm watching his scout, tall goalie, over 6 feet, so you're thinking shoot low, but he gets down quick.
He does. That's
obviously,
a great point.
We saw Daniel Kelly have 2 5-hole shots on him, but he's a goalie that does get down quick.
Rutgers calls a timeout. 8:57 left to go here in the second quarter. 53 seconds left on the shot clock. Carden Stoller playing with swagger, shutting the door on the Maryland opportunity. Heartbreak that Rutgers has experienced. Connor Kelly with that game winner. One of these two, 27 in red, 5 in red. Shane Knobloch, Ross Scott. They've both been quiet so far here tonight. What do you think Rutgers could do to get them off, involved more in the game?
I think setting them up for more dodges, I think, is important. As I mentioned it earlier, the aspect for Rutgers to dodge it and draw one and move it to another guy to then make the opportunity, make the play, I think is important.
McNaney with another save. We've had 2 ties and 2 lead changes in this game. And after taking 10 shots in the first quarter, that's only Rutgers' second here in the second quarter. You can see the attention that Knobloch draws. And he's a great assist man. Already with an assist here tonight. Coming in with 10 helpers, now 11 on the season. This is Cordilla. down the alley. Rolls back to the left. Harmless shot. Backed up by Rutgers.
We mentioned it earlier. Shane Knobloch, as you think, I do think as well, the best midfield coming out of this class to be drafted for the Premier Lacrosse League.
Here he is up top. Shot passed up, and there's pay dirt. It's Cardilla. What an unselfish play by number 1 in red, Dante Coulis. He has an outside rocket, passes it up. Cardilla finds the back of the net.
What a shot by Cardilla. I mean, absolute stinger to the off-pipe side. I mean, when we take a replay here, Logan McNaney, a lefty goalie. This is probably one of the hardest shots for McNaney to save. Nips the pipe right there, and McNaney realizes he can't even save that. And a little fist pump for 88. Rutgers on his chest, eye black is on. The Scarlet Knights tied up here at 3.
Yeah, Cardilla, a lot of Rutgers pride, the freshman from Bridgewater, New Jersey. His father, Aaron, and 3 uncles played at Rutgers. So the Cardilla roots on the banks run very, very deep. His 16th tally of the season. Rutgers with the face-off win. Going back to work. So a great timeout from Brian Brecht. You love it when you call the timeout, and then what you draw up finds pay dirt on the other side. Krimenacker being guarded by Stamos. Swim move, shot save, gobbled up.
Up and out here. This is what the Terps like to do. McDonald on the run.
Good hustle again. It's Shane Knobloch getting back into the hole. That was Colin Cardilla with the swim move, the lefty shot. Recognized by McNaney, makes a clean save, and Maryland back on the offense.
Not one of my fondest memories. We'll have to say last year, Ohio State versus Rutgers. I'm on offense. Shane Knobloch's guarding me. Strips me.
Oh.
Yeah, comes from behind. You act like you don't even see him, and he's right there.
Well, that's why he's down here, down there, and you're up here with me. Safe and sound. Where was that game?
That was at Ohio State.
At Ohio State. You know what? I called that game. I probably took it easy on you, getting your lunch money taken by Knobloch. You're among many, though. I mean, Shane has made play after play in his 4 years in that Rutgers uniform. Hockey assist on that last Rutgers goal. Erksa, he's been quiet so far here tonight. Kors shot the goal. That'll get Erksa on the score sheet with the assist. Jack Kors, number 22 in white, with the goal.
That's why they call him the Cadillac. A steady Eddie player that's going to get a couple assists, a couple goals each game. Nothing too flashy, but a great placement here on the shot by Jack Kors. Let's start with the save, though, from Logan McNaney, where it all starts. Little swim move, and then a 5-hole save right there, up and out to McDonald. And then coming back on the offensive side, Syracuse, Erksa, Kors, bing bong. Another 5-hole goal from a guy across the way, a little Adon.
He is Adon. Roldan's roll. Jack Kors with the tally, his 14th of the season. Kors, such a terrific off-ball player. There you sell it right there. Shot just goes wide.
How much do we think the injury of Danny Moltz is affecting this offense?
It's a good question. I think it affects it a lot. He's a terrific inside presence. Not that Daniel Kelly isn't. Kelly's more of a stretch shooter, whereas Moltz is that inside finisher. We saw it in his last game against Penn State. They were jamming the ball into him on the crease. He made a subtle adjustment. He came up about 6-7 yards, more of a high crease, and they found him in that slot. So I think Moltz, and the other thing about Moltz too, even though he is purely a finisher, he still gets a long pull. He never gets shorted. Never gets shorted.
They tested that on him in the sophomore year. Obviously didn't go their way. They ended up going to obviously the national championship. And he's respected the pull, as they say.
2 ties and 3 lead changes over the last 8 minutes here in this one. Good back and forth between Rutgers and Maryland. Now we see a little bit of a shorter bench for the Scarlet Knights. They are running that first midfield unit almost exclusively after a first quarter that saw their second line get some burn.
Knobloch drawing another, dishing it.
Cordilla being guarded by Colin Sharkey. Sharkey does a nice job to turn him away. So it looks like in the first quarter they were content to dodge with Ross Scott behind. Now in the second quarter, more of a midfield dodge, but Logan Peters had a step on his man and just misses the cage, and Maryland doesn't like that call. Logan McNaney hustling to the end line, but it's closest when and where it goes out. There's two critical components to that equation. It did look like Scott had a little bit more of an inside track to the ball. Shot clock does reset as well, so a fresh 60 for Rutgers to work with. Shot, save McNaney. That'll reset the shot clock once again.
They're coming really quick to Shane Knobloch.
Big time.
As you saw there, they're already hinting out 5 to 10 yards. A little split by Shane, roll back, and his fellow offensive midfielder is there waiting.
Logan Peters, he's an attack slash midi. He's filled that third attack spot, which was going to be Colin Kelly, a Canisius transfer. Made appearances against Princeton and UMass, but he has been sidelined for a couple of weeks now. Knobloch coming up on 25 seconds left in the shot clock. Nick Red, but a quick slide. Feet in the crease and a goal. Cordilla. He is a target at 6'2", gets the cut and had just enough English to get it by McNaney.
And it all starts with what we would call the worst nightmare for the Terrapins, a shorty on the Rutgers' best midfielder, Shane Knobloch. It all starts with his dodge from the wing, getting it to X. Take a look here, Shane left to left at X, seeing the cutter down below, and just misses the save, Logan McNaney, into the back of the net. The placement there, McNaney almost comes away with it. 88, bringing the juice.
Terrific assist, good look from number 21 in red. That's Duke Richmond II.
Getting some burn today.
Freshman from Orange, New Jersey. Timeout taken by Maryland, all level at 4. What do you think the conversation is in the Maryland huddle?
Just play our game. I truly think it's Maryland playing their game is one of the best teams in the nation. And if Tillman can settle these guys down and be like, look, we've been in this situation before, they've been in worse, as you mentioned, at Penn State. It's tied up 4-4 here, 3 minutes and 35 seconds left in the second quarter. If I'm Coach Tillman, I'm just saying, hey, play our game. This is Maryland Terrapin ball. And if I'm Brecht, I think I'm saying the same thing too. These are two dominant teams that came out a little bit sloppy, and now we're seeing these two teams tear it up.
Second quarter's been a little bit more buttoned up, but that first quarter and the turnovers have been a problem. Maryland, and very uncharacteristic, like you said.
Very uncharacteristic. I think the biggest thing is just the turnover aspect. You know, this is not the usual Maryland team we've seen. The same on the Rutgers aspect. I think this is where they can put points on the board.
Maryland with 8 total turnovers. Like we said, they played a cleaner second quarter because they had 6 of those in the first 15 minutes of action. And it has been nip and tuck. This is a 4th tie of the game between Rutgers and Maryland. Get a good look at head coach Brian Brecht trying to get that Maryland Terrapin albatross off their back.
Albatross, I like that one.
It's a Hopkins guy. It's the one team Rutgers has not been able to beat in Big Ten men's lacrosse. Face-off looked like it was won by Weirman, but a violation called. Possession back to the Scarlet Knights.
Bram's an underrated player coming into this matchup. A transfer from Utah, lit it up there out west, and coming back to the East Coast is a great add to the Breck team.
Graduate student out of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, coming into today's game with winning 54% of his face-offs, scoring 2 goals. He won 15 against Princeton, 12 apiece against Hopkins and Ohio State. He's very capable. Good knockdown by the Maryland defense, but they can't get a handle on it. Finally do. Nice ground ball pickup by Jackson Canfield, one of the 4 Vermont transfers on this Maryland roster. Real missed opportunity for Rutgers on that last possession.
Again, we're forcing it early, and here comes Course on the other end.
Shot from McDonald just goes wide. Maryland is out of timeouts. Oh no, the scoreboard shows they do have 1 left.
Alvidi and McDonald both had pole goals last week. I know that's a big aspect for Maryland, and the bench was hype last week, and to see that again, we might see. We have Syracuse up top, sizing up. Shorty from Rutgers.
Donnie Howard, the transfer from Boston University. Little pick up top. Now Urksa earns the Shorty matchup. Quick slide. Good recovery by Rutgers. Spanos, he's been quiet after that 4-goal effort a week ago. Nice little feed down low. Rebound picked up in the score. Braden Urksa. If not successful the first time, try again. Initial save by Stoller comes right out to number 10. And he looks shaken up. Running off the field, holding that left arm very gingerly is Braden Urksa.
Braden Urksa, one of the shiftiest players in the nation. Shoots that first one, doesn't really get it, but sees the ball, tracks it inside, in the goal it goes. Braden Urksa a little bit shooken up though as we look at the replay.
Watch this check. Now we didn't see it, but there was a check late. It was legal, clean, but it looked like it caught him on maybe the left wrist. There is Urksa being attended to by the Maryland medical staff. This Terrapin team already down 1 starting attackman in Daniel Maltz. So it looks like Eric Spanos, number 7 in white, has slipped down to the attack position.
Now Ferks is out. That's Urksa and Maltz. Wow, look at him. He's going to the locker room. We'll hear to see what that exactly is, but how big of a deficit is that for the Terrapins?
That's huge. I mean, to be down already Daniel Maltz is one thing. To be down Daniel Maltz and Braden Urksa is a whole nother ball of wax. Maryland utilizing that final timeout to draw something up. We'll see what happens tomorrow night. I expect an electric atmosphere.
We're getting marked to Columbus. That's what the fans want to see.
Capacity of what, 2,100? I expect that. Talking to Coach Myers yesterday, he said that it was close to a sellout. That was more than 24 hours ago. Out of the timeout, Syracuse. Give and go for Daniel Kelly and a goal. Jack Porras. We talked about his prowess off ball. He proves us prescient right there. And Maryland has scored the last 2 to take a 2-goal lead.
I've been seeing this play happen for years. Going back to my travel ball days, getting coached by Brian Kelly, the legend, with Jack Corson and DK. You know, this is a special play here. We've been seeing this, the give and go. Loyola Calvert Hall, FCA inside. The Cadillac puts it 5-hole. This is the fourth 5-hole goal of the game?
Carton Stoller, that might be the scatter report. Go between the wickets and chorus. Like Kelly, a natural lefty, scores at righty. And this is the first 2-goal lead by either team all game long. Rutgers will use their last timeout to set something up. Maryland 2 goals in 40 seconds to take this 6-4 lead. Again, if you're just joining us, Daniel Maltz out this week. 2nd consecutive game that number 37 for Maryland has not been available. And then Braden Urksa scored Maryland's 5th goal and then left the field holding his left arm very gingerly. Was examined quickly by medical staff on the sideline of the Terrapins, and then he has already left the field and gone into the locker room. And there we see Urksa. Definitely something with that left hand area. Hopefully he's okay. We're back to live play. This is Knobloch, guarded by Burles. Behind the cage to Logan Peters. Peters up the alley, looking for an outlet over to Cardilla. Cardilla, Maryland sliding very aggressively, very fast. On the backside, little hitch move, shot, save McNaney.
What a save by McNaney. What an even better move by Knobloch as the Terrapins come to clear the ball. 12 seconds left in this half.
Jack Amon with that offering, got a step and just couldn't solve Logan McNaney. Offsides, we do have 4 seconds left. Here comes Rutgers. Let it go, young man. Trail check. What a play by Ajax Zapatello, but now Zapatello shaken up, getting up very gingerly after that beautiful trail check. Looked like he may have caught a foot in the arm or shoulder. Watch as Amon got that shot off, but Ajax Zapatello disrupting it. No dice as Maryland goes to the locker room with a 2-goal lead.
That's why they gave him number 1. A Terrapin play right there, diving play to save them a goal. The Terrapins are up 2 going into half.
Logan McNaney, solid first half, making 7 saves total. Carden Stoller on the other end, 6 stops. But again, as we are joined by head coach John Tillman from the University of Maryland. Coach, it seems like when Maryland and Rutgers get together, always a very tight affair. No different here tonight. Your impressions of the first half?
Yeah, league games are like that. You know, Rutgers is a great program. Brian and staff do an awesome job. You know, they have a really good team. So as we've seen week to week, and you know it's a dogfight, and tonight's been no different for sure.
Coach Braden Erksa going to the locker room. Who are we going to see supplemented with him in this offense with Maryland?
We'll see. Let's see what's happening with Braden. You know, make sure he's okay. Our staff does a great job, so we'll see where he's at, and we'll talk about it. It's nice to have a little bit of time here to figure out what we want to do and how we want to do it. So he's a pretty tough kid. So my gut is, you know, he'll be chawing at the bit to try to get back on the field.
Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
John Tillman and the Maryland Terrapins. It was a 4-4 game, but then Braden Erksa and Jack Korse stuck 2 in a row for the Terps. 6-4 is your halftime score. Officials and the face-off men gathering to start the second half. Luke Weirman, Cole Brahms. Brahms wins it clean out the front door. Has a little bit of a step shot. It's the pipe. Nice handle by Jack McDonald, picking up the ground ball, getting out of harm's way. Boy, that would have been a sweet start for Rutgers had that one dropped.
The Scarlet Knights coming out, firing in the second half. You know, that would have been a huge game changer here for Rutgers if they would have canned that. Great save, though, by veteran Logan McNaney as he takes it across the 50.
Logan on his horse again. Little sky whammy. Back to his pole. As we take a look at this Maryland attack, Braden Erksa back in the game for the Terrapins. That means Eric Spanos can pop back up into the midfield, which he is. Syracuse is starting things down the alley, flips it to Erksa. Good defense by the Scarlet Knights. Donnie Howard, native of Mercer Island, Washington. Syracuse, defense hung up, gets a step shot. Stoller soaks it, makes the save. Here come the Scarlet Knights.
Big Ten freshman of the week, Stoller staying high on that shot, and that's fundamental save right there as he gives it to Knobloch and he comes down the field.
Knobloch gets underneath. Numbers for Rutgers. Good recovery by Maryland. Ross Scott shimming his way to behind the cage. McNaney doesn't want him hanging out behind his crease too long, flushes him out. That's a big difference we've seen from McNaney over the last month. Coming out of the cage, more confidence in that knee. You can see the brace. but he's moving better outside, as we've seen him make 2 jaunts down the field. Amon gets slid on quickly up to Cordilla. Rutgers trying to figure out this Maryland defense. John Sidorsky getting a run. Lehigh transfer. Has a ball in his stick now on the short stick defense of Colin Sharkey. 15 to shoot for the Scarlet Knights. Cordilla. Low percentage feed is intercepted by Logan McNaney, so an empty possession for Rutgers.
McNaney was eyeing that one down the whole time. Low percentage feed, as you mentioned. McNaney's there picking it off, and the Terps are clearing again, and here comes McNaney again.
He has been their human clear. I know it's a bad memory, but what did that do to your bench when McNaney hit that goalie goal a couple years ago here? We talked about the pole goal and how it can lift you up. What about when the other goalie sticks one?
That was one of the saddest times I've ever been on the field, I'll be honest. And I'll never forget the next day having to go get COVID tested.
Okay, yeah, that was, yeah.
And it was a SportsCenter top 10 moment. And we were there watching it live.
Oh, boy. Double whammy, huh?
It was terrible, but a great memory.
Mark Dixon, Mitchell Pehlke, former Ohio State Buckeye, social media influencer, doing a great job on YouTube channel, right?
Yep, YouTube, Mitchell Pehlke. You seen a little bit of Mark Dixon there soon?
They can't wait. Spanos earns the short stick matchup. Good slide. Spanos. That is something you typically don't see from Maryland. The ball dying in the stick of a player who's trying to back in, and just not having success.
It looks like the start of the first quarter for the Terrapins is kind of like the same start here in the second half. Dying in their stick, a couple stupid turnovers. And Spanos, the guy's been lighting it up in the past couple weeks, not doing too much today.
Well, for Maryland and John Tillman saying, we're still trying to find the guy offensively. It's been more by committee, but that's kind of the Terrapin way. New offensive coordinator, 3rd in 3 years. When Mike Phipps coming over from the Naval Academy. This is Richmond, guarded by Kohler. Richmond with an assist, getting his first significant game action since Detroit Mercy a few weeks back. Ross Scott. Richmond, good quickness. Cordilla, fake the shot and gets stood up. Good defense from Maryland. They create the turnover. Here come the Terps.
Eric Kohler is a staple down there for the short stick middies for the Terrapins this year. A guy that can, push in transition, but also play some solid foundation defense, and we saw that there.
The shorties have improved for Maryland this year. You think about that 22 team with guys like Jake Higgins and Robin Puglisi, and all 4 of those shorties are now in the PLL. And how about the interception from Mason Edwards? Long pass over. That's an opportunity to go to Cage. Colas pulls it out, gets it to a short stick D midi. Rutgers proudly calling their short stick D unit NASCAR. Feed inside. I don't think Sidorsky was ready for it, but no harm, no foul. Ross Scott.
NASCAR, I like that.
You never heard the Rutgers NASCAR? Yeah, that was what they called themselves for years. Brennan Kamish leading the way. Feet under the crease, mishandled. That was a golden opportunity for Rutgers to have a dunk shot. McNaney gets dropped. Maryland bench screaming for a flag. No dice. Terps looking to clear.
Rutgers making the right plays, just not being able to convert on those.
Jack Corus. Give and go. Shot. Right off the kisser of Carden Stoller. Stood tall, hugged that pipe. Splain with the rebound. Ground ball. Rutgers looking to clear. Some up and down action over the last couple of minutes.
Coming out of the half. 2 teams firing. We obviously saw The opposite of that, course to Kelly, and Kelly putting it in the 5-hole. But Jack could not do it there. Rutgers ball.
Good clear by the Scarlet Knights. Stoller working with Tommy Mendyke, junior from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. He was the long stick midfielder last year with Ethan Raw. I mean, this is a defense for Rutgers that graduated Brad Apgar, Bobby Russo, Jack Stahancic, and then Ethan Raw at the rope. And a reconstructed, and a new goaltender too. Carl Mullen was their keeper a year ago, a transfer from Harvard. That's why Brian Breck wisely redshirted Carter Stoller.
How beneficial do you think that redshirt year was for Stoller?
Big time. You don't use the eligibility. You're on scout team. You're still taking shots. You can practice. That will be an over and back. Rutgers with another turnover. Here comes Maryland. Schaller can't handle. Ball's on the carpet. Being harassed by Connor Udovich. Rutgers now with 10 turnovers in this game.
That's Stamos solidifying it.
Uncle Jesse. Right?
For the Terps against that Syracuse team.
Stamos with that game winner in overtime.
Nothing like a game winner from a short stick D midi.
I tell you, that was a heck of a game. Feed inside to Erksa, save. Carter Stoller stands tall and fights that one off, and then the ensuing ground ball. Great ride from Syracuse. He's not giving up. Udovich, what strength. Great job from Connor Udovich, number 34 in red.
And that starts with Stoller, but that play was made by Udovich. Udovich, you know, fist and feet there, bringing the ball up, not getting checked out. But that save, is it too early to say potentially Big Ten Freshman of the Year, Stoller?
I mean, you know, Stoller, I think, is a front runner. His teammate Colin Cordilla. I think Caleb Fyock, goaltender for Ohio State. We're talking to Nick Myers. He certainly feels that Big Tasty has been the best freshman in the conference. And then Quentin Kilrain from Johns Hopkins got Freshman of the Week honors once. Shot low angle from Knobloch, saved by McNaney. Maybe a little hasty from number 27 in red. He's been frustrated tonight. No goals so far.
I think we haven't seen much out of that Ross-Zappatello matchup that we thought.
Well, remember, first quarter, Ross tried it a little bit and got some shots, not the best percentage. Look, if your game plan is to go on number one, it's tough. You got to get picks. You got to switch the matchup. But to your point, I do think that Rutgers could incorporate some of that. You know, try to switch that matchup. Little two-man game, big little.
Yep.
It's Rutgers defense, rangy, aggressive, and disciplined. Zach Whittier working against the short stick defense of Brandon Hunt, the transfer from Towson. Long range, that is popcorn. Stoller, here we go. Rutgers has numbers if they push it. Spillane, he already has a goal so far here tonight. His counterpart with the 70 inches of titanium was following him, Harris Hubbard. But another turnover from Rutgers. They can't handle in the early offense. Maryland now looking to settle it down. Now we've now gotten to under 4.5 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. I mean, look, if you're Rutgers, you've got to get a goal. I mean, it almost feels like a bold statement, next goal wins kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you don't want to fall down to Maryland by 3.
They're getting to good spots. Like that Cordilla shot, I like that. I just don't like the placement of the shot. I think we got to go low or get it to a pipe. They're definitely getting shots, just the placement.
Feet inside, and there it is. Daniel Kelly. Backdoor cut. The catch, shoot. Maryland has that 3-goal lead.
And that's a hat trick for Daniel Kelly. We've seen 2 5-hole goals, and we see another one here, putting it past Stoller. But Daniel Kelly having himself a night. It all starts with Ryan Syracuse and the little backdoor cut by Daniel Kelly. Look at it, puts it right past the pipe of Stoller, getting the boys juiced up, and Terps are up 3.
We were taking a look at our freshman of the week. We were talking about who might be the best freshman in the Big Ten, and Rutgers, between Carden Stoller and Colin Cardilla, well represented.
Well represented indeed. 6 freshmen of the week out of that. Was that 10? It looks
That's
really
a lot.
good.
Yeah, Caleb Fyock, Quentin Kilrain, Fyock 2-time winner, both members of that stud Crabs 2023 club lacrosse team, and Kyle Lehman doing a really nice job for Penn State, coming out of the box, a natural attackman, but the Nittany Lions stacked with attackmen in 2024, so playing some midfield. It'd be interesting to see who gets that Big Ten Freshman of the Year, but Rutgers certainly have claim with 6 out of the 10 weeks. Duke Richmond back in the game. He's provided a spark here for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Knobloch looking to get on the score sheet. Maryland has scored 3 unanswered goals, and Rutgers has not scored in now 15 minutes of action. They haven't tickled the twine since 3:14 left in the second quarter. Maryland has scored 3 unanswered. Like I said, our biggest lead of the game.
If I'm Rutgers here, we have to get something going.
Got to force the issue, but don't want to be reckless. And there's the way to get the party started. Ross Scott tattoos the upper 90.
You will be seeing this clip on a YouTube highlight tape in years to come. Ross Scott, just a kid from Oregon, making it happen. Sizes up Ajax Zappatello and then slings it from the hip. Paints the top right. Here we go, a little replay here. Sizing up Ajax, as I mentioned, and then just turning on those jets, bringing it from the hip and tattoos it, as Mark would say. Look at,
love the step away. That step away. You know, what you can't let Zappatello get into your body.
He's winning that game.
Scott did a great job of stepping away, and then you can see the emotion. That's a big goal from a big-time player. John Tillman trying to assess how that one went down on the iPad. Violation on Rutgers. Face-off goes to Luke Wehrman of Maryland. Look out. Wehrman can make something happen.
That was a big one there for Rutgers. Putting it down to 2 here. It's obviously Maryland ball, but they can kind of go either way now.
Spanos probing the Rutgers defense. Burks are back in the game after exiting late second quarter. Mulliver, feed, not handled. Rutgers missed the first time grounder, so important, but they're able to pick it back up. This Rutgers team, I'm impressed. They're very good off the ground. Dodged a bullet by being able to pick up the loose change. Tommy Mendyke with the GB, and Mason Edwards legs it into the offensive zone, and now Rutgers, they got to get to work again. Down by 2. Graduate student, All-American, All-Conference, Ross Scott. Ranked number 26 in the Inside Lacrosse top 50 players coming into the 2024 season. 3 goals against Michigan last week. Really set the tone for the Scarlet Knight offense.
Definitely more of a sloppier game than expected from both teams.
Scott, same move, just goes wide. Logan Peters beats it to the sideline. Possession staying with Rutgers.
It's another big possession here for the Scarlet Knights. To get something on the board here, to only go down by 1, potentially going into the 4th.
Great pick, shot. Door was shut by Logan McNaney and on the ensuing ground ball. Richmond missed it, but it stayed. Feed, shot, Cardilla. Looks like he hit a pipe. Rutgers is saying it was a goal. No video review here in 2024 for the Big Ten. We're going to have to take a look at our own replay. But Colin Cardilla. That was a golden opportunity to cut this to one. And then Owen Murphy with just a careless cross-field pass. That one sails out of bounds. Scarlet Knights will look to restart, and with just over 13 seconds left to go in the quarter, Maryland calls a timeout. John Tillman did not like the way his defense was looking on the restart, but let's take a look at this Colin Cordilla shot.
You know, it might have hit the inside pipe and bounced out. That's what we're thinking, but this is why we're taking a look at the replay. And it did.
That's a goal.
Wow. And no replay for the Big Ten.
Nope. Take a look at the end zone cam. There's a better look at it. That is a goal.
100%.
Wow.
That's tough if you're Rutgers.
And you can see, because of the restart, the goal official was on the end line, so he's not in the position.
And it hits the pipe, so you don't see the net movement for the official.
Yeah.
That's the tough part.
Well, I mean, listen, you got to watch that thing bounce behind the line. I mean, that is a good foot or two behind the goal line. I mean, if I see it, it's almost like it's a pane of glass in front of the...
If I'm a ref, though, what are you thinking? It just hit off McNaney, but it wouldn't bounce that high.
Again, your goal official is all the way on the end line. That's where the trail has to come in. He's got to pitch down to give a good look. That is one that will haunt Rutgers. And again, no video review in 2024 for men's lacrosse. That one could have been looked at and probably reversed, but no point crying over spilled milk. On the re-trigger, Rutgers looking to get 2 within 1. This is Knobloch. Head of steam. Drops it off. Scott looked like he was going to pull the trigger. Thinks better of it. Logan Peters drops it. And that'll do it for the third quarter. A controversial third quarter where Maryland scores a goal. They each trade. It's still a 2-goal deficit for the Scarlet Knights. There is the score by quarter. We had a lot of business in that second stanza of action. Both goalies and defenses playing well in the third quarter, including that man Logan McNaney. And we've teased it enough, Mitchell. A couple years ago, right on this field, Logan McNaney, one for the ages.
Not one of the fondest memories of my Buckeye career. I remember watching it sail in, and you just think it's no, and then it hits the net. And you obviously see Bernhardt getting excited.
That was a terrific shot from Logan McNaney. And there we see his timeline. Really won the job as a freshman in 2020. Obviously, season canceled because of COVID. 2021 starts all 16 games. Scored the goal against. Had to put that one in there. Led them to the national championship game where they fell short. 22, win the national title. 23, injures his knee in the first game of the season. And he came back here in 2024 as the starter, as a leader. He's made 10 saves so far here tonight for the Terps. And they win the first faceoff of the fourth quarter.
It's crazy to still think he has one more year of eligibility.
I didn't know that. Because they are redshirting Brian Ruppel, who started last year as a true freshman when McNaney went out. So you might have more information than I don't know, man. You're onto something. Speaking of Brian Ruppel, he won 2 Freshman of the Week awards last year twice. Last goalie to have done that before Carton Stoller, and that's a nice clear from Rutgers. What do you think Rutgers has to do to get? I mean, obviously, huge disappointment that goal didn't count, but got to go back to the drawing board, try to figure this out.
I think you just got to stick to your 2 guys, Knobloch, Ross, starting with the ball, collecting those defenders, and then passing it to a teammate.
Knobloch gets inside, shot to goal. big-time players make big-time plays at big moments. And right when they needed him, number 27 in red comes through.
Shane Knobloch, we mentioned it already. Our pick to be the top midi going in the Premier Lacrosse draft. And you see it here, just a veteran move. A right to left, but then he brings it back to the right and sneaks it right by Logan's left foot into that right pipe. Just look at the ball placement. Maybe a little spin on there. And that's a big goal for the Scarlet Knights. Still down by 1, but a big shift.
Shane Knobloch, a member of the under-21 Team USA. He's a 3-time All-American, will be a 4-time All-American. 38 points a year ago. Splain with the pickup. Then he gets harassed. Possession was called, so we got a battle. That's a push in the back.
Yep.
Loose ball push against Maryland. Possession over to Rutgers.
This is big here, the momentum, you can feel it.
Knobloch tonight, 1 goal, 1 assist. Ross Scott settling things down. Jack Amone, Colin Cardilla. Yeah, so right now, Rutgers, they're comfortable with number 21 in red. Duke Richmond has come into this game now playing attack. He was playing midfield. His only taste of game action prior to this was in kind of blowout time against Detroit Mercy. So you love to see coaches making adjustments, awarding kids that have had a good week of practice or good, stacking practices. And there's Richmond, shot, saved by McNaney, but the rebound gobbled up by Ross Scott. Scott again getting flushed out from number 30 in white. Good job.
Richmond, as you mentioned, a guy that hasn't seen much time, but as we mentioned as well, later in Big Ten play, guys are getting injured. You might have to mix up the line.
Scott with the whip shot. Richmond can't corral the ground ball. McNaney has it. Thought that shot maybe a little just not the best angle for Ross Scott, but Scott and Knobloch with the last 2 tallies for Rutgers. Their superstars stepping up. Does Maryland have an answer? They scored 3 unanswered until they were answered. 2 in a row by by Rutgers.
Spanos up top with the ball. Still a little silent with Spanos tonight.
Ray, gotta give credit to Rutgers. They've done a nice job with him defensively. They've slid, both teams sliding very aggressively in this one. Maryland's got the field a little bit unbalanced. Now Rutgers able to recover. Move to cage by Urksa. Urksa doesn't look hampered by what looked to be a hand injury earlier. Feed the slot, shot and goal. Syracuse playing the role of Daniel Maltz. The inside presence slides up a few yards. It gets a clean look on cage.
It's a little light show here in College Park. We've obviously seen that play a ton by Maltzy, but Syracuse steps up here. And a great feed by Jack Korus. A little dive in right there. Fundamentals, catch it, release, bottom corner. And celebrating with his teammates is what the Terps are all about.
So while Spanos might not be having his best game offensively, Syracuse, second goal tonight. Korus with the feed, and here comes Weirman out the front door. Shot to score. Luke Weirman showing why he is the All-American and all-time face-off leader in Maryland history.
This place is going crazy. Weirman right down the throat. Nothing like a little Fogo goal. You gotta love it. And a little replay here. Coming down, right down the middle. Looking off the point guy. Bingo. 5-hole. Give it a stare down. Give it a little stare down too. Do I like it? I love it. And a little stare down. Look at that. That's how the Terps do it. Terps are now up 3 goals.
2 goals in 3 seconds for Maryland. And it looks like Stoller guessed on that one. He didn't think that Weirman was going to put it right down Route 1. But that was straight up, but big ground ball by Jack Korus. Maryland again on the the break. Uneven situation. Save Stoller. Brilliant. Foot save. That was something special from Carden Stoller. Here comes Rutgers. They're under the Maryland defense. They have numbers if they want to push. Richmond. Feed shot. Hit a Maryland defender. Rutgers looked a little tentative in that odd situation. End-to-end action. Here comes Maryland. Pulling it out. Looks to be Sharkey. Rutgers with a prime opportunity. It's looked a little tentative on that uneven odd man rush.
What a wild 60 seconds that was.
That was terrific. How about the save from Stoller? Whew.
Just continuing to show us potential freshman of the year, Big Ten freshman of the year. And now we started with the Terps.
Whittier, just under 10 minutes to play for Maryland. Owen Murphy, so second midfield unit winner with his hands free. I don't know why he didn't shoot that one. That was a dream opportunity. That's when you can kind of tell a kid's tight. You get that wide open look. You're up by 3 goals, but maybe he gets a shot. There he does. It's called karma, and it came around to number 13 in white, and he pots it. Maryland up by 4.
Zach Whittier, a guy in and out of different lineups. Had a shot like we just mentioned, didn't take it. And we'll start with Rutgers actually with Stoller making an unbelievable save on McDonald here. The foot save, just another key save by 9-2, and then the inside here with Whittier just coming right across that high crease, catch, finish it. And there we go, a little fist pump by 1-3. Zach Whittier putting the Terps up by 4.
3 goals in a minute 39 for Maryland. And Rutgers guilty of ball watching on those last 2 Maryland tallies. Zach Whittier hitting Painter. This is a nice wing play by Rutgers. That was Brahms. That's right, I'd say Knobloch. Excuse me, I thought that was number 24 in red. That is 27 in red. He just disrupted the scooping motion of the Maryland pole and wins a possession at a critical juncture of the game. This guy can do it all.
He's going to be electric to watch at the next level.
Colin Cardilla, just too much of a force feed into the middle. Picked up by A.J. Larkin. Plays it back to McNaney. Not the look that you want if you're Rutgers.
A lot of forces out of the Rutgers offense. Shane and Ross playing great, but the other guys just forcing the ball on the inside. We've obviously seen that with Peters and Cardilla.
Rutgers catches a break off sides against the Terrapins. James Ringer getting some game action here late. So we've seen a deep bench for this Rutgers midfield. Obviously, Knobloch, Cardilla, Amon. But we've seen Sidorsky, Krumenacker, Tereski, now James Ringer, Duke Richmond. Timeout on the field. Rutgers trying to draw something up to get closer and knock off Maryland for the first time since 1980. The great crowd here in College Park supporting their Terps. So ball watching from Rutgers, poor defense.
This will not be a great film session for the defense of the Scarlet Knights.
3 seconds later, it's Luke Weirman
coming
right down Route 1. And then Zach Whittier passed up a good-looking shot and then gets it back on the cut. That's right in line with what John Tillman says pretty much every time you speak with him in preparation for a game. You want to take the best shot, not the first shot. Zach Whittier heeded those words. Rutgers so far here in the 4th quarter, no goals on 4 shots. Maryland 3 on 5. And Rutgers needs to get to work in a hurry. Shot save, McNaney. Amon with the bouncer. 10-6 is our score. 7:40 left to go in the game.
Rutgers is trying to get something going there. Love the take, don't love the shot placement. Again, with the bouncer from 12 to 15 out.
And now we've seen this story many, many times. This is where Maryland just manages the game. Up by 4. One of the best face-off men in the conference, in the country. They know they can be patient, but yet still attack. Chorus. Logan McNaney tonight, 12 saves.
Terps playing deep into the shot clock here. Key, as you said, the Maryland management here late in the game, up 4.
Ten seconds to shoot. Spanos trying to get his hands free. He does. Stoller goes to Splitsville to make the stop. Shot and another one. Carton Stoller. Wow. Incredible. 2 saves in rapid succession for number 92 in red.
Great saves. After those 2 Daniel Kelly 5-hole goals, it seems like Maryland's trying to attack there, but Stoller's been there since.
Got to go if you're Rutgers. Ross Scott. Good defensive discipline by Colin Sharkey. Stayed with his matchup. Good communication with Ajax Apatella. Just goes underneath of him to keep the matchup. A little bit of a high pass. Tim Summer now on the field, number 82 in red, and he's going to rip it. The ball is deflected off of a Maryland defender. Good 2-on-1 man ball. Ground ball work for the Terps.
Tim Summer, a big boy. Trying to rip it from deep, but Maryland's obviously there. I like that take, though, by Summer. Summer's a big body. I would like to say use him a little bit more.
Once again, Rutgers going deep into their midfield core. They've used 9 tonight. Whittier. You know, this is the stage of the game. We'll see if Rutgers can get a stop. But obviously, this is getting into desperation time for the Scarlet Knights. Winners last weekend at Michigan. First conference win of the season for the Scarlet Knights. Maryland just milking the clock. They will attack. With about 15 seconds left to go, which is now. Shot from Chorus. Stoller with the stop.
Stoller playing great. Staying high, getting low, using that big frame. This guy is going to be a guy we're talking about for years to come. We have Rutgers with the ball. Richmond down below, trying to make something happen. This little pick play on the shorty.
Stoller, 13 saves so far here tonight. Scott runs out of angle. McNaney did a nice job matching stick on stick.
If I'm Scott there, you got to come above the crease there, increase your angle. He might have ran out of room there with how fast he was going, but you got to improve your angle there. If you take a look,
maybe stop and then roll back.
Yeah, using that shifty speed that Ross Scott has.
Coming up on the 3-minute mark. Time is a ticking on the Scarlet Knights. They will host Penn State next Friday evening. We'll have that for you on the Big Ten Network. Maryland travels to Homewood Field, Johns Hopkins, in, for my money, the best rivalry, greatest rivalry in college lacrosse.
The Buckeyes versus the team up north?
Buckeyes versus the team up north will also be next Saturday night. We'll have that for you on the Big Ten Network. Michigan losing today to Penn State. They're on a 3-game skid. They'll look to correct the ship against an Ohio State team that all 6 losses have come to teams in the top 10 of the RPI. And that's got to feel good for number 41, Jack Brennan. The coaching staff at Maryland has been waiting for him to break out, make a big play, and that is going to do wonders for the confidence of number 41 in white.
Jack Brennan, a staple for this Maryland offense in years prior, with the little right to left and then right down the alley. The 2 palms up looking like the adrenaline man, and then the fist pump. Maryland goes up 5.
So it looks like it is going to be at least another year, well, unless these guys play in the Big Ten tournament, which is a distinct possibility. But Maryland has just owned this series with the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Terps on a 4-0 run over the last 8 minutes and 42 seconds. Rutgers calls timeout. You talk about the Big Ten. All 6 teams make the tournament. So the 5 and 6 seed, whoever they might be, they have an opportunity. ACC tournament is back this year. Only 4 of the 5 teams will qualify. And then the Ivy League tournament, I mean, that is a dogfight. Some separation today as Penn beat Harvard. Harvard was in the 5 slot. Shot saved by McNaney. Maryland only 1 goal in the first quarter. They have more than made up for it over the next 3 periods of action. And it looks like they will take another win. I mean, how about the Patriot League as well? Army was ranked number 1 a couple weeks ago. They won the star game today over Navy, and then Boston University, who had been playing really good lacrosse, upset at home against Lafayette. Colgate is leading that conference with a record of 4-1.
A lot of ups and downs this year in college lacrosse. Big Ten, ACC, Ivy, Patriot League. Big East today with the Georgetown-Denver game.
Denver, first time in 5 tries. They end a 5-game losing streak to the Georgetown Hoyas. Shot saved by Logan McNaney. He has played solid here tonight, as Maryland will just hold on to this thing and look to get ready for the Johns Hopkins Blue Jays. Can't wait tomorrow night. Hopkins at Ohio State, the beautiful Ohio State Lacrosse Stadium. Capacity crowd expected. The defense of the Buckeyes versus that experienced veteran offense of Johns Hopkins. One of the many storylines going into that one.
That's going to be an exciting one. Nothing like Sunday night lacrosse on Big Ten Network.
You said it.
Mark Dixon on the call.
I'll be with Greg Bice tomorrow, so it has been Ohio State Buckeye weekend here. Mitchell
like that.
And Greg both representing the Scarlet Gray. Maryland taking a timeout.
Can't say that M word, you know, and coach takes that, you know, very seriously.
Wes Schmidt in the cage for Maryland as they try to close this one out. Elliot Dubik just killing time behind the cage as Maryland continues their dominance over the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. As the clock hits triple zeros, Testuda has once again protected the house.
It's dominant Maryland win there. 19th straight win for Maryland over Rutgers. Maryland comes out on top, playing their game.
Maryland Terrapins continue to own the series against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Once again, your final score, Maryland 11, Rutgers 6. For Mitchell Pehlke, this is Mark Dixon.